I'm Sarah Laws. I run My Handmade Wardrobe Patterns and I make patterns for my pattern company and also help other people to make their own independent patterns. I love helping people to make patterns and I love seeing people who are at the very beginning of their pattern making journey starting to explore and experiment with making patterns and just really finding the joy of being able to see their designs come to life in 3D. I really get inspired by seeing what other people do. I trained as a fashion designer, worked in the fashion industry for 7 years. I worked as a women's wear designer and a kids' wear designer. And then I started teaching about 13 years ago and I taught beginners through to dressmaking. And when it got to dressmaking, we found that the range of patterns that were available just weren't really very suitable. The size ranges were very limited. The styles at that time were limited, especially for the upper size ranges. And people just couldn't get the patterns that they wanted. And I couldn't find the patterns that I wanted to teach people with. And I found a lot of the instructions as well quite overly complicated, using a lot of technical terminology that when you're starting out just seems like, a bit overwhelming, basically. So I set out to produce patterns that were for beginners to intermediate, and I set out to make sure that the instructions were as simple as possible and that the designs were modern but classic. So they acted as a base for you to be able to then manipulate and make the patterns your own way. And that's always been my kind of one of my leading principles is the patterns need to be versatile. And I've always encouraged people to then explore what they can do with the patterns to make them their own. So that's where the basis of this course came about. So I love a bit of pattern hacking. I work with very few patterns myself. I'll take a pattern, I'll make it. So I'll have lots and lots of tried and tested patterns as well as my own blocks as well. And I will make that pattern my own by basically kind of changing the things that I need to change to bring my design idea into life. So I've got a jeans pattern that I love, that I use, and that I can do whatever I want with. I can manipulate it to make it wide leg, skinny leg, etc. I've got a basic top and dress that I can change the sleeve on. I can change the neckline. I can change fastenings. I can use different fabrics. And all of these, basic patterns create my toolkit to then start designing the clothes that I want to wear. So I thought, hopefully, other people will want to learn that way as well. So the course that I've put together is a basic introduction to pattern design. I'm not going to be saying, here's a top and here's how to make it. What I'm going to be saying is, I'm going to be showing you how to take patterns that you already own and develop them into your own designs. So throughout the course, we start off with pattern making essential knowledge. So we're basically looking at pattern making terminology that you'll come across as you're starting to get into pattern making and amendments. This is really useful because if you do further research, which you're definitely going to want to as you go down this route, that's the way that I've learned most of what I've learned is through trawling blogs and books and online sources. And you need to know what keywords to look for. If you know the language, if you know what keywords you're looking for, then you'll be able to find the information that you need. Then we're going to be looking at the equipment that you need for pattern making, what you don't need. There's a lot that you don't need as well. We're going to be looking at how to measure yourself, specifically for pattern making. So what are the extra measurements that you need to take? So for dressmaking, you need to take your basic circumference measurements. But when it comes to pattern making, you're going to be needing to take a lot more specific measurements, and especially vertical measurements are going to be very, very important. And that's where you're really going to see a breakthrough if you've been having any fitting issues. Because once the areas of volume in the pattern are in the right place vertically on your body, that's when things really do literally start to fall into place. We'll look at amending commercial patterns to create your own designs. And this is kind of the big chunk of the course. We're going to be looking at how and why to trial your design as quickly and easily as possible. We'll be looking at using half-scale patterns and half-scale blocks, which I'll also include with the course. So you can actually use these to start developing your own designs. We're going to look at blocks as well. So it's not just about taking commercial patterns and developing them to your own designs. It's also about looking at making your own templates of garments that you regularly want to wear, or making templates of your body so that you can then start to develop those into your own patterns. And then we're going to be looking at dart manipulation. So this is one of my favorite things to do with patterns or blocks to radically change the silhouette. So darts are used to create suppression or shaping in garments. And you can move them around all over the body, change them into a variety of different details to create the design that you're aiming to achieve. And we'll look at all the different ways that you can do that. So that's a really, really good resource that you can keep coming back to as your ideas develop and grow. In the final chapter, we'll be looking at essential pattern making techniques and making up techniques and considerations. So I'll be looking at kind of how you can write your own instructions, what kind of things you need to be thinking about when you're designing your own garment, because obviously when you're designing off pattern, or you're designing without following the instructions from a pattern directly, you're going to be needing to think about quite a few more things when it comes to the construction. So that's the basic overview. Within the course, I've included some half-scale templates of some of the patterns that I regularly use, one of which is the Everyday Amazing dress and top. So that is this pattern, which is just a very, very basic shift dress pattern and top pattern. It's got a set-in sleeve. It's got a nice round neckline, a back seam, and it's just a really simple design that has a lot of potential to be redesigned. So I'll include a half scale of this for you to have a play with on the course. I'm also including design sheets for you to then develop your ideas. So the process is that you take your pattern. So for you, I would start off with either this pattern, which is included in the course, or a tried and tested pattern that you know and love. And then I would start to think about a few small changes that you can make. So don't start with anything too drastic, but 2 or 3 things that you can change the pattern to make it completely different. So just as an example, within the course, I have gone through and done several design developments of this pattern and other patterns. And this is one of the ones that I have worked up. So from this basic pattern, the simple shift dress, which has the set-in sleeves, we're looking at creating a bishop sleeve. We're looking at adding a belt. We're changing the neckline to a V-neck. And that's pretty much it. That's enough to make that into a very different design to the original without having to do too many alterations. We can make it really our own. So within the course, I'll be showing you how to take the half scale blocks, which will be provided in A4 printable format. So you can just print them off. You can print as many as you like. You can then stick them together and cut them about and play with them, or you can trace them off to develop your own designs. And I'll show you a few examples of what you can do with things like a basic sleeve to then change it into a bishop sleeve or a flared sleeve, or a variety of different changes to basically make your own designs with just a simple pattern. What I didn't want to do with this course was create something that was inaccessible, that was too top level, too, I guess, professional, really. Obviously, I want to come across as professional, but I want you to feel like, as a home dressmaker, as a dressmaker that wants to make garments for yourself and express your own style through your dressmaking, I wanted you to feel that this course is for you. It's not for people necessarily who want to go into making their own lines of clothing, although I think it would be really beneficial for them as well, because it's always really important to learn how to consider your customer in pattern making. But at the end of the day, the customer is you. I will be setting up a WhatsApp group because I love WhatsApp for sharing ideas. We have one for the Crafty Sewing Camp, which we run. I've had them for my pattern making retreats, which I run in person. And I absolutely love just hearing from you and seeing, what you're working on, answering your questions, sharing inspiration. And I think that's going to be a really nice thing to go alongside this. And if there's demand for it, then I will be more than happy to do Zoom calls like this and have chats, take emails, etc. So yeah, I love connecting with people and making sure that you have all the resources and the information that you need. So you're not sitting there scratching your head thinking, I don't know where to go next. So I always want you to feel you can reach out to me. So that's quite enough from me. Does anybody have any questions about the course? Helen, fantastic.
Yeah. I've
Wonderful.
got quite a few questions on
Fire
whether
away.
be able to explore fitting so that we can make the patterns that we are making ones that fit us and ways that we can make things more flattering um, and do things like trousers and things that are really tricky, perhaps towards the end. Um,
Absolutely, yeah. So fitting, I think through learning pattern making techniques, you can't help but improve your fitting. Learning the basics of dart manipulation is one of the most important things that you can learn to improve the fit of your garment. I do include some information in the course about how to do a fitting as well. So one of the mistakes that a lot of people make when they're fitting their garment, their toile, for the first time, they try it on, they kind of pin it up as much as they can by themselves on the back. And, it might be a bit wonky, but, at least it's together. And then they look in the mirror and they go, oh, it doesn't fit. And we've all been there. And, that is really disheartening. It's absolutely horrible. But I will go through a step-by-step fitting process that will mean that you will actually get a really successful fit. It's a little bit more involved than just standing looking in the mirror. But I suggest that you take photos of all angles, that you wear the garment for a little while to get a real feel of how it works on your body. And then when it comes to fitting, I've got a process which starts from the shoulders, working down. So we get the circumference right first, and then we start from the shoulders and work our way down to make sure that we get a good fit on our garments. So that is included within this course. However, if you want to take it another step forward further, I am also bringing out a bodice block and fitting guide, and that will be coming out early next year. So that is going to be a really good resource to use alongside this course to actually make sure that you're getting a perfect fit on your bodice block, and then you've got that core pattern that you can use to make anything you like, really. Any other questions?
Hi, Sarah, it's Lynn. Yes, I've got a
Hello,
question,
Lynn.
please.
Wonderful.
Hi there.
Hello.
I wanted to ask because I was thinking about doing the retreat in July, and I
Mhm.
just wondered if perhaps talk a little bit about the comparison between the online course that you've just talked about and the retreat, 'cause I'm a bit undecided which way to go, or whether I would do, but whether one complements the other, and it would be good to start with the online course first, and then do the retreat in July as well.
Excellent. So the course that I've put together, the Introduction to Pattern Making, is a result of wanting to give people something to either get themselves started before the retreats, or a little reminder to kind of keep developing. What I found on the retreats is people get a lot out of them because they're in the room for 3 days. It's intensive learning. You'll get a bodice that fits you. We'll also look at getting a skirt block by the end of it, and joining that together as a dress block. So by the end of that the retreat, you should end up with a bodice block, a skirt block, a dress block, and a sleeve block that fits you, and the resources and concepts to start developing them into designs. Where the Introduction to Pattern Making picks up is looking more at how to actually develop those designs, because really within the 3 days of the retreat, we can only cover so much. And I like to really focus on what we need to do whilst we're in the room together. And then we'll touch on how to start developing your designs. But really, the process of learning to become your own designer and building your confidence up to really start designing your own styles, that is a process that takes time. And that's where the online course, being self-paced, I think really will suit people. I didn't want to do it as a intensive 6-week course or that kind of style of course, because I feel like a lot of people they'll pick it up straight away and they'll have loads of ideas already, and they might kind of consume the whole course in 2 weeks and be designing, their whole new capsule wardrobe within the next couple of months. And then some people, it's going to take a year. It's going to take, a lot of soul searching and trips out to the shops and inspirational research and trawling Pinterest and all the lovely things that go into designing your own styles and working out what your style is as well. So in answer to your question, Lynn, I feel like they really do complement each other. And that's not just me giving you the sales patter. I really have developed it so that, the online course fills in the gaps that on 3 days where we can't cover everything. You've got a bit of a starter. I would definitely recommend, if you do want to come on the retreat, to do the first kind of 3 chapters of the course before the course. And it being in July, you've got plenty of time to have a run up to that. And then you've got the rest of the course to kind of help you then develop your designs going forwards.
Okay, thank you.
No problem at all. In case, if you do have any questions after this call, feel free to reach out. If you follow me on Instagram, you can always reach out to me by direct message. And I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on the course. If you do want to sign up for it, you can get the introductory price of £45 until the 1st of November. Just go onto the course portal now. I'll send you a link through after this call, and you can have a look. There are a couple of preview pages, so you can see what's included in the course overview. And yeah, I hope that you'll join me, because I'm really, really excited about running this course. Like I say, it's the culmination of many, many years of my experience and knowledge, and just wanting to share that with as many people as possible. So yeah, I hope that you will join me on either the online course or a retreat as well. They're also up online to book now. And yeah, hope to see you all again soon. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye, everyone.